You're going where you want to go, 'cause we go everywhere. Space Coast Area Transit, we'll take you there.
Space Coast Area Transit, the department of Brevard County's Board of County Commissioners, is responsible for providing public transportation services in Brevard County. The backbone of SCAT's service is a fixed-route transit system that delivers passengers to work, shops, school, and more. Although the transit system is highly visible, the profitable relationship between local businesses and Space Coast Area Transit may not be as obvious, but the fact is, SCAT is one of Brevard's main economic engines. Space Coast Area Transit has become an increasingly viable option to get to work. More than 25% of all trips are work-related. The majority of these trips are transporting workers in the hospitality and other service industries to and from their jobs. For many of these employees, SCAT is the only way to get to work, underscoring the vital importance of SCAT in the community.
One of the biggest concerns in the hospitality industry today is maintaining a workforce. Getting employees to and from the job is often the biggest part of the equation. Simply put, SCAT helps keep the tourism industry afloat by transporting many of their employees. I would hate to think of the loss in profits the hospitality industry would suffer, not to mention the negative impact on our economy if public transportation was not an option.
In addition to supporting Brevard's workforce, the number of riders to take the bus to get to school has increased almost 500% in the last 5 years. Many of these students take advantage of SCAT's Bike on Bus program. 1 of every 10 SCAT riders uses a bike to get to the bus stop. Then they conveniently load the bike on the bus and unload it when they arrive at their destination. This is particularly conducive when traveling around a college campus. Over 75% of all SCAT riders identify the lack of access to an automobile as the #1 reason they ride the bus.
We have consistently worked to make Brevard Community College a place where students can afford to earn a quality education. Transportation is a major key that helps them reach their goals. Many students can pay for a car or tuition and books, but they can't afford them all. We'd like to believe that an education is more important. However, the student must first arrive to the campus.
Space Coast Area Transit also provides a valuable service to elementary and high school age kids throughout the summer with the Read to Ride program. Kids up to age 18 can ride the bus for free just by showing their library card.
I believe very strongly that if you can keep kids from being bored and into positive activities, you'll keep them off of drugs and out of trouble. The biggest drawback during the summertime, though, is that their parents are working and they just don't have the mobility to participate in positive activities. That's why I think it's great that these kids can just grab their surfboards, go to the nearest bus or trolley stop, and get to the beach without it costing them a dime or without impacting their parents' work schedules. Cool, huh?
Everyone loves the beach trolley, especially the tourists. In addition to being just plain fun, the trolley plays a vital role in reducing traffic on A1A.
How you doing, sir? There's your room number. Have a nice day. I can't even begin to guess how many of our visitors leave their cars in the hotel parking lot and ride the beach trolley. I would absolutely shudder to think about what the traffic would be like on A1A if the beach trolley didn't exist. I actually get hotel guests coming back and thanking me for recommending the trolley. It's fun, it's easy to use, and you can easily connect to the bus service on 520 and head out shopping. It's safe and it's clean, and it's the best value on the beach. The tourists love it.
Last year alone, Space Coast Area Transit provided over 1.4 million trips. Imagine the impact on your life and work schedule if instead of taking transit, 1.4 million more trips were being taken on Brevard County's roads. Space Coast Area Transit also plays a key role in the life of our seniors through its paratransit program. In order to embrace the magnitude of this service, consider that based on passenger miles, SCAT's paratransit program ranks at number 13 in the entire United States.
If it wasn't for the life-sustaining trips provided to seniors and disabled through SCAT's paratransit program, each individual healthcare facility would have to create their own transportation network. In turn, that would create a tremendous strain on Brevard's healthcare industry. There is no doubt that these costs would eventually be passed on to the consumer in the form of increased insurance premiums and higher medical costs.
Even with the support of the paratransit service, some frail and elderly residents need additional assistance. These seniors live at home on limited incomes. They are able to continue living independently instead of in government-funded assisted living facilities through the provisions of the Volunteers in Motion program.
When I help one of these elderly citizens by taking them to the grocery store or to the doctors, I know I'm making a major difference in their quality of life. Our volunteers serve because they genuinely care about the well-being of our elderly citizens.
One of the least known, yet most important roles Space Coast Area Transit plays is to oversee Brevard County's emergency support function for transportation.
Space Coast Area Transit oversees Brevard County emergency transportation. During an emergency, SCAT evacuates pre-registered special needs residents to designated shelters. SCAT participates 24 hours a day in the staffing of the Emergency Operations Center and coordinates with other emergency support functions such as Public Works, Law Enforcement, the Red Cross, the Brevard County School Board, and the Brevard County Health Department. Multifaceted transportation is provided for everything from emergency crews to supplies such as tarps, food, and equipment.
During an emergency, SCAT continuously participates in staffing the Emergency Operations Center 24 hours a day until the emergency has ended, for as long as the special needs shelters are open and until the last special needs citizen has been returned to their home. What's the economic impact of saving a life? Other vital aspects of Space Coast Area Transit's mission include its commuter assistance programs. Space Coast Commuter Assistance operates the largest commuter van pool leasing program in the state of Florida and the 19th largest in the nation. Brevard van pools are currently traveling 175,000 miles per month, carrying approximately 30,000 passengers and logging more than 2 million passenger miles per year. Van pooling is extremely attractive to employees at Kennedy Space Center, since many of them have a significant commute of over 100 miles per day.
Van pooling makes an incredible difference in my workday. Sure, I save money, but the savings in time, it's even more meaningful. Instead of being behind the wheel for 2 hours a day, I can balance my checkbook, work on my computer, return phone calls, and occasionally just put my head back, get a few wings.
In addition, Space Coast Commuter Assistance matches hundreds of commuters interested in forming car and van pools using their own vehicles. According to AAA, the average cost of driving a new passenger car is 56.2 cents per mile, or $8,431 per year. Sharing that cost among commuters with similar destinations can provide advantages not just to the vehicle owner, but to the community at large.
The positive impact that ride-sharing provides by helping to keep congested roads to a minimum is huge. If you're in the service business like mine, and you make X number of calls per day this year, how much more time will it take you to service the same number of people next year, and the year after that? As the number of cars on our roads increase, and as the traffic and congestion increases, by what percentage will I need to increase the size of my fleet just to service the same amount of people? It's an incremental creep of economic impact. We have got to encourage ride sharing in Brevard because whether or not we continue to find alternatives to highway congestion will ride us into an era of future growth and profitability, or not.
Other areas of commuter assistance include telecommuting or working at home from a computer, alternative work schedules where employees commute at times other than during peak traffic hours, and employer parking incentive programs where employers receive tax benefits for participating in ride-sharing programs. Space Coast Commuter Assistance also works with companies and communities in developing transportation management plans. Transportation management plans are individualized programs that are used by corporations and communities to proactively manage traffic flow before it becomes a critical problem.
In order to foster a more livable and enjoyable community, the Vieira Company felt it was important to create a transportation management plan. Space Coast Commuter Assistance was asked to help formulate a plan because of their proven expertise in transportation management. Proactively managing transportation systems during initial development phases helps create extremely desirable communities to live in, not only for today, but 15 years down the road.
A study by the American Public Transit Association found that as much as $6 is returned on every dollar spent on transportation. Even people that don't use public transportation benefit from the investment. Over 80% of SCAT's $11 million budget comes into the community from state and federal sources. In turn, SCAT invests a significant amount of that money locally in payroll, operating expenses, and capital improvements, making a significant contribution to Brevard's economy. Whether it's reliable access to jobs, stimulating economic development, acting as a catalyst for elderly volunteer transportation services, mobilizing emergency evacuation, improving air quality, reducing energy consumption, transporting our workforce, reducing traffic, or fostering more livable communities, Space Coast Area Transit helps keep Brevard's economic engine running. The bottom line, public investment in public transit is not only profitable, it's vital if we're going to keep Brevard moving into the future.